Hello everyone, and welcome to our final week of English 120. This week you're going to finish The Valley of the Moon by Jack London. I hope you've enjoyed this book. It's one of my favorites. And I just want to give a shout out to those who from our class who did come to Jack London State Park on Friday. I really appreciate that you guys came to the park, and I really hope that you got something out of it. Those of you who weren't able to make it, I know you didn't have a lot of notice. If you still want to go to the park, you can do so and still get extra credit if you visit the park and write a 1 to 2 page response about it before May 27th, the last day of class. So please feel free to go. I would love for you to go. It'll only give you more information about Jack London. And to submit your paper about the park, you just need to email to me. Alright, so this week, besides reading the end of The Valley of the Moon, you're going to revise your research paper and turn in your final paper by May 27th. Sorry. You're going to make sure that you've taken the comp class post-test. This isn't graded, but it is required that you complete the post-test. And finally, you're going to take a final on The Valley of the Moon. It's an essay, and I will be talking about that a little bit. But before I do, I want to talk a little bit about the revision process. So one thing you want to think about when you're revising your paper is writing with style. So you want to understand how people write about your particular issue. How are other people writing about it? Think about, are you writing in that way? Before I continue with this, though, I just want to make sure before you begin any of this, before you begin any of your revising, take a look at, I've returned my comments for you on your research paper, and take a look at those and let me know if you have any questions. Also, by this time your peer should have returned comments on your research paper. If you have any questions, please refer to them, and they will, and hopefully they can give you an explanation. So when you write, you want to make sure you write concisely. That means remove any unnecessary modifiers like fine, many, somewhat, great, quite, sort of, lots, really, very. Remove unnecessary introductory phrases such as there are, there is, these have. Remove any stock phrases, as a matter of fact, at all times. And the words here beside it. So instead of writing as a matter of fact, write in fact. Instead of writing at all times, write always. You want to choose your words carefully. Remember that all academic writing should be formal, meaning one uses a restrained tone and with no use of slang. You want to, if you're using any specialized language in your paper, make sure that you define these terms to your reader. And remember, variety is the spice of good writing. So if you can vary your sentence patterns throughout your paper, that'll really help the style of your writing. So when you're revising and editing, what you want to focus on is rethinking and re-envisioning your document. You want to, when you're revising, you're focusing on the big picture issues, such as whether your argument is sound and supported, or whether you've organized and presented your information, ideas, and arguments clearly and effectively. You want to check the clarity of your thesis statement. Can readers easily understand your argument, and does it support your thesis statement? How have you used source material, aka your evidence, in your document? Have you used enough evidence to support the claims that you're making? Have you addressed all reasonable opposing viewpoints? How well organized is your paper? And is it easy for your readers to find your thesis, main points, and the supportable subtopics? Which strategies should you use to revise? You want to save multiple drafts of your document. You want to highlight your main point and reasons and evidence. This is a good way to see exactly how you're developing this. Challenge your assumptions. Play the devil's advocate. So look at what you've written and raise reasonable objections to your ideas and arguments, and ask, so what? As you read your document, ask why readers would care about what you're saying or asking. Re-outline your document. and ask for feedback. I have office hours not on Monday from 10:45 to 1:45. I have office hours on Wednesday from 2 to 3, and on Thursday from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. If those times don't work for you, please make sure you reach out to me and I'm happy to find another time. When you're editing, this is when you're going to look very, very closely to make sure that that all the facts and figures that you've gathered from your sources are correct. You want to check every single quotation to make sure it's correct. You want to check the spelling of every name. Reduce the number of words needed to express any idea or convey information to your readers. Make sure that throughout the paper you're treating concepts consistently. Use numbers consistently. Treat your sources consistently. Format your document consistently and in MLA format. Then I want you to focus on spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Make sure you run spell check and look at each sentence at the sentence level in order to ensure every sentence contains a subject and a verb. Check punctuation to make sure it's accurate. How will you do this? You want to read carefully. Set your document aside before you edit. Maybe give yourself a day or so. Pause between sentences for a quick check. Read it aloud or read it in reverse order. And ask for feedback. Again, come visit me in office hours if you have questions. Or you can even call me during office hours. Alright, so that gives you a lot to think about as you revise your research papers. Don't forget to take your comp class exit test. It needs to be completed by the end of this week. Your final research paper is due on the 27th. It's 6 to 8 pages, just as we've been talking about this entire time. If you go a little over, it's not a big deal, but if you go a little under, it is a big deal. Please review the requirements listed here and make sure that you have all these requirements in your essay. Finally, you're going to be taking a Valley of the Moon final. I have the prompt question written here. When you click on the exam, you'll need to begin the exam, so you might want to do some pre-writing and thinking about it before you begin. Jack London's novel, The Valley of the Moon, which was published in 1913, discusses many events and ideas that are still relevant today. Write an argumentative essay where you choose and define one of these ideas or events, review how this idea or event is presented in The Valley of the Moon, and show how this issue is still relevant today. Please use evidence from sources to support what you argue in your essay. Your essay must be in MLA format and show evidence of your knowledge of Jack London, The Valley of the Moon, and research writing. Your essay should include an introduction, including a thesis, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. You may use The Valley of the Moon as a source, along with the following sources, but please cite sources in MLA format and include a works cited page. Jack London's biography, articles from any research database found on our library database page. And I do want to let you know that by this time you should know how to access these from home. If you have questions, contact the librarian. Other Jack London related materials you have found in your own research or used in our class. Finally, your essay must be at least 500 words, but it can be more. Alright guys, that's it for this semester. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.